Hello everyone, I am back with the cards that I finally have completed from the Crafty Advent Calendar 2025. And I left off on day 11, and the reason for that is because day 12 was a Friday. I got home from work and I work outside in the harsh Canadian winter. And after 5 days of that week, I was so tired and exhausted. I had a hot shower, I sat down on the couch, and I said to myself, if you sit down on this couch, you're probably not going to get up. And nothing inside me replied. I just sat there and I didn't get up and I didn't make a card. And then I lost momentum and I didn't finish because I just got so far behind I couldn't visualize myself making more than one card in a day. So I have finally completed the cards and I'm here to show them to you. So we'll start on day 12. This is the card I made using the little telephone die, and the background squiggle is from last year's Crafty Advent Calendar, and actually there are two squiggles, I guess. Yeah, so I used those, and then because it's a retro telephone, I used wood grain for the background because wood grain reminds me of when these phones were around. So that was day 12. Okay, so day 13 was the little embossing folder. And so what I did was I embossed two strips and then I put another strip on top of that piece of paper. So there was a spot in between that was blank, so I could put this on top. I put two of the rabbits and then the little bows, little velvet bows. These bows are so freaking cute. I got these at Hobby Lobby. I just wanted to show them to you. And then I went back a few weeks ago and I bought the black ones because I just love these so much. I bought another set of these and I got these as well because I just thought they were really cute. And the die that goes around the outside is the notched corner frames die. Yeah, okay, so that's day 13. Day 14 was the little worm with his little umbrella leaf, which was super cute. The notched frames die was also used for the outside of this card, as well as the leafy embossing folder, 3D embossing folder. Oops, I'm dropping things. Yeah, so that's how I made that card. Oh, and as well as the modern, I think that's the modern ovals die. The next day's card, I believe, was the fishbowl. Yes, it was the fishbowl. And I made a funny little table. I thought, you know, I just pictured this fishbowl on a table with a wall and a picture on the wall. And so I didn't have a table, so I just sort of cut a wonky table out of a piece of cardstock. And as you can see, neither one of these tables looks that great, but I thought, I don't care, I'm just going to go with it. It doesn't have to look like a perfect table. And then I only had 3 legs. I forgot to cut the other legs, so then I had to add a leg on there. And the cute little portrait on the wall has been made using the Spellbinders Clear Seal Maker. And the Clear Seal Maker also has a stamp that is that what it's called? Yeah, stamp, I guess, that you would put down into the glue that is shaped like a postage stamp. And so I use that as the picture on the wall here. And the inset to that is also a little rub-on that they sell that goes along with it. And the background, I don't know if you can see, but it's been embossed. I'll put in a little video here of how I did the embossing. I'm using a stencil set from Simon Hurley called Polka Dot Assortment, and there are 4 stencils in this set, and I am using the stencil with the largest dots. That is Versamark ink that I'm using, and I'm smushing it right through the stencil, and then I'm going to take some clear embossing powder and sprinkle it all over the background. This is going to give me some powdery dots. Then I'm going to heat it up with my heat tool, and as you can see, the powder disappears and the dots become this very subtle pattern in the background. This is a great way to add another layer to your cards that is subtle but doesn't take over the background. So fish out those stencils that you're hoarding and not using and put them to use in this way, because it adds that extra little oomph to your background. And I don't do this enough. I do it sometimes, and then every time I do it, I think I've got to do this some more. So in 2026, I pledge to do this more, and I think you should too. Come on, I know and you know that you want to use your supplies more. Okay, and the only other thing I want to mention is that the fishbowl was made from a piece of vellum, and I just let the vellum sort of sit there because the rest is attached with foam tape on the back. And yeah, that's that card. Okay, this day is not sure which day we're on now, but this day was the banner sentiment, and for that I used this frame that goes around the outside that has been stitched with gold thread. Is from, I think it's February of 2025, the stitching die from February of 2025. And I love that one. I've used that over and over and over again. I just really like it. And the flowers involved there are from the Sealed Wildflowers set. And that's another one that I've used over and over and over again. So got a lot of use out of those. Okay, this cute little bunny, I think this day the thing that we got in the advent calendar was the set of sequins that were clear. So I used the postage edge circle nesting dies to create this layered backdrop for the bunny and his cute little velvet bow that I just want to pet because it's so soft. And then I just put the what I did was I used the little pierced dots as a template for where I was going to put the sequins. I just put them, I think, in between each one. And then I punched out some glitter dots from gold paper and I put that in between those dots, and then I just added a few more dots on the top. So that was that card. The next one was the corner die that made that nested corner. And for that, the only thing I did with that one was that I took my scissors and the corner of the corner, I just trimmed off and made it round, like right here and right here and right here and right here. I just took my scissors and sort of made the corner round, because this other shape here is the die that comes from the bunny set, and it's the piece that goes behind the bunny's eyes so that you can choose the bunny's eye color. And these little pink ones, I just used a circle punch, and the stars come from the Spellbinders Beautifully Imperfect Die Cut Sentiments. There's some stars in there, so I just sort of sprinkled them around, and also this sentiment comes from that set too. Okay, so this day was the day that we got the little stamp sentiment set, and I just did a very simple card with some stitched flowers, and these come from, I believe this was January of 2025. It was the stitched die of the month, and so these tiny little flowers were the little circles that go on the back of the ladybug. And the flower itself, here the larger flower, is from this die set, and I have glued this down to my magnet, but it was called the Stitched Floral Flip Frame. And so it was this one, I guess. No, this one. No, you know what? It's not on here. This was the background for it, but then the stitched part of it I've taken off because I was actually using it. And these sprigs come from, I believe they come from here. Yeah, it's this one right here. So that's the Sealed Wildflowers die. And so that makes just a very cute little card. And then the next day's card was the spaceship. And for this one, I simply took an edge of a piece of paper, the corner of the piece of paper, and just put it here, and then I used the smallest die from the nesting corners die that we got, and I made it look like a little snow peak. Stamped the sentiment that we got a few days before. I put this spaceship on some foam tape, and then I splattered the background with some, let me see if I can show you what I splattered it with here, with some Winsor & Newton ink in white. I really like these inks. Yes, and I put it on some pink paper. Okay, so the next day, the thing that we got out of the Crafty Advent calendar was the Best Wishes die. And I had this die set that I'd bought before, and I really wanted to use it, the Fresh Picked Vase Bouquet. So I just sort of copied the layout on the example here. I used some different colors, and I used an embossing folder that I don't have with me right now, but it's from quite a while ago. And the only thing that's different about this card is that I changed the color of the inside of the card to be a bright yellow, and I think it's kind of nice. I think I should do that more often. It's kind of a nice surprise when you open up the card. It brightens it up, because the front of the card is sort of a darkish color arrangement, and then you open it up and you're like, ooh, yellow. Okay, so the next day we got the stencil set, the 3 stencils. And what I did was I took black cardstock. I laid one of the stencils down. It was I think it was the first stencil, stencil number 1. And I used some clear paste, some gloss paste. It's actually glossy and it's clear. And that is a mixed media product that is made by Prima. I think it was in a tube, and it's made by Prima. And so then I just cut out, after it was dry, I just cut it out with some circle dies, and I put the fishbowl on here, and then the background is made with this embossing folder from June of 24. Yeah, it was the embossing folder of the month for June of 24. And I just made a white insert, and then I used some black sequins. And this sentiment, I think this sentiment is from the Advent calendar, and then this sentiment here is an old Stampin' Up! Sentiment, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that from Stampin' Up! And then I just cut out some gold circles to inlay inside the other circle. I used some foam tape, and that's that. And then this die was the roller skates. And again, this reminded me of my childhood, because I used to go to the roller rink when I was a kid. And so that's why you see a wood grain background, because it's just reminding me of that point in my life. And then I went with a color scheme that was also sort of big back then, the yellows and the oranges. And I used this sentiment from this new stamp set from Spellbinders that has just come out last month. And I'm going to do some videos with that in the future. And then this flower here is another stitching die, and this is from last year sometime, and it's this, is it this one? No, this was the last card. I'm not, you know what, that flower comes from one of the stitching dies I just showed you. I think it was this one. Yeah, it's this one right here. Yeah. Yeah, so, and then I used some glitter for the bottom of the skates, and I love this one. I thought it was so cute. That'd be really good to give to a friend. And then the last day was the Good Luck horseshoe with the shamrock, and the flowers that I used for that came from this set, which was a stitching die from last year. It's these flowers right here. And this one, the frame for the horseshoe was from the Ladybug die set that I showed you earlier. This one right here. Yeah, about a year ago, I hurt myself at work, and I was in the office for a long time, and I didn't have a whole lot to do, so I sat there and I stitched and stitched and stitched, and all I had was gold thread. So I stitched an awful lot of frames like this with gold thread, and it's great because now I have this stock of gold stitched flowers, and I've used most of them up actually by now. But yeah, so those are my cards for the remainder of the advent calendar, and I will have some more videos for you coming soon. Normally I just do videos in the month of December, but I've decided that I should probably just continue to make videos for the rest of the year. So there will be more videos coming. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for being patient while I finish the rest of these cards. Bye for now.